'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even an eagle. The Dallas Cowboys get the win 40-34, a 40 burger on Christmas Eve, and the Cowboys hold on late to take down the previously one-loss Eagles at home at AT&T Stadium. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. The Cowboys give a gift of a win this holiday season. Alongside Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans for the First Word, presented by Dr. Pepper. This is a classic. It's hard to say there's been a better football game played this season, not only on the Cowboys schedule, but all the way through the NFL. These are two good teams, maybe not at full strength, both sides having to deal with some injuries, but when it came down to it, a rivalry was a rivalry, and it certainly felt like one on Saturday night.
You're right, Kyle. I mean, this was a heck of a game. And I understand this is a rivalry, but, I mean, if you're a fan of football, this is exactly the type of game you want to watch. I mean, it was like a prize fight out there. Punch, counter punch, punch, counter punch. I mean, it was outstanding out there. A little sluggish first half for the defense. Overall, I'm not too concerned about the defense, but I got to get that pass rush going just a little bit. But Dak Prescott, early interception out there. He could have hung his head. He could have sat there and been in his woes, but as a leader that he is, he went out there and prevailed through that. Ended up throwing, I believe, 4 touchdowns out there? Or was it 3? Three touchdowns, 1 interception. Led this offense back into business where they needed to be. This was an overall great game on both sides of the football. Two great teams going at it. It was a playoff atmosphere out there.
It was definitely a playoff atmosphere, and this is how you want it on Christmas Eve. So, Cowboys Nation, you guys had your present, your good Christmas gift right there given by these guys. But listen up, big-time games require big-time plays by big-time players. T.Y. Hilton, welcome to the Dallas Cowboys. Way to make a play on 3rd and 30. Obviously, the O-line had to block. The quarterback had to throw a dime, and you had to run a heck of a route and actually answer the call when called upon. Flip it to the defensive side of the ball. Deron Bland, are you freaking kidding me? This young man just keeps showing up whenever called upon. I think there's only one play all year long that we can really look at and say, hey, he was a young guy. Other than that, he's picking everything off, taking the ball away, wanting it more than the others. And then the special teams. The one time Devontae Turpin had an opportunity to return the ball, what does he do? Return it all the way to the doggone 50. This was a team win, and it required big plays. Great job, Cowboys.
Punch, counter punch, man. Hey, the defense, I think, did a great job. The offense, 32 minutes of time possession. That gave our defense the strength at the end of the game to do what they would need to do. Michael got that one time out, refreshed himself. They came back and did it. Look here, man, 87 yards rushing, 2 turnovers by a great back and Miles Sanders. Great job, defense.
So let's talk about the offensive side of the thing, because we will go back to defense in a moment. But we've been very critical with Dak Prescott as of late because of the interceptions, and it looked like it was going to be critical again because for one of the first throws of the ball game right into the hand of Josh Sweat. He returns it for a touchdown. All of a sudden, it's 10-0 Philadelphia, and it's, oh my goodness, here we go again. How impressive was it the fact that he jumped back on the saddle, and was able to have the game he did?
Well, if you're watching the pregame show, like I hope everybody was, Kyle, Dak Prescott talked about, and you guys saw one of the shots in there where he talked about his mental toughness. He said, I'm not bragging, but I'm very mentally tough. Well, he showed you today. I've been super critical about his interceptions. You saw it early on in the game where he simply gave the gift of Christmas right there to Sweat. But what did he do? He bounced back. He came back, he answered, and the rest of the game was doggone near flawless. He had a couple throws in there that he wished he had back, but they weren't able to capitalize on them. He was able to find his receivers. He was able to get them the ball in good position, and guys made plays for him. Dak Prescott, way to bounce back.
Made plays. CeeDee Lamb, you made some plays. Dalton Schultz, you came up big. Ferguson, you got a big one when needed to. These guys played for him, man. Like you said, he could have dropped his head, walked to the sideline, but he told us he was mentally tough, and he showed us by throwing some nice, accurate passes.
Look, at the end of the day, you just got to find 88. I mean, that guy is growing up right before our eyes. I mean, I know I talked about it earlier in the season, the body language, didn't like what he was doing out there. But like the second half of this season, this guy has grown right before our eyes into that number 1 wide receiver. No one can stop him out there. You put him on the outside, he's giving you problems. You put him in the slot, he's giving you extra problems out there. The guy's starting to get double teams going his way, and it still doesn't matter because he's catching the ball and making plays with this guy. Look, CeeDee Lamb, your number 1 receiver out there, man, heck of a game to you, fella.
Yeah, able to get the job done. Now let's go to the defensive side of the ball because you guys mentioned it. It was a little shaky to start, Barry, defensively. And, I mean, anytime you give up 27 points on the defensive end of the coin, especially for this defense, it looks like a down day. Yeah. How do you feel like they rebounded after their performance last week against Jacksonville and how they were able to close this one out late?
Look, I feel like they made plays when they were supposed to make plays and kept this team in the game. I do not like the pass rush right now. They're still not getting as much pressure as I would love to see out there, but they got 4 takeaways out there. 4 takeaways, that'll get your offense in the right position, and you'll be able to win games out there. And like you said, Isaiah, I can't say enough about DaRon Bland. This is a rookie, fellas. We're not talking about a 6-year vet, a 10-year vet. We're talking about a rookie playing one of the hardest positions on the defensive side of the football, and that's the nickel back position. Not only that, he's moving from nickel to outside to back to nickel. I mean, this guy is doing outstanding things out there, and he's taking the football away. Kudos, young man. You deserve a game ball.
I don't disagree with you. DaRon Bland has been showing up. We've been talking about him since the preseason.
Yeah.
He's just balling out for these guys, and Al Harris is obviously rubbing off on him. But you talk about this defense holistically. I still think there's too many leaky yards, as my guy BC was saying. They still gave up over 400 yards of offense, 2 100-yard receivers with a quarterback that was Gardner Minshew, who we know wasn't the most accurate guy in the world. However, they still held him to about 54% completion, which is pretty doggone good. Couple that with the fact that they had 4 turnovers, that's going to give you opportunity to win some ball games.
Curse challenged them this week. He came up big himself with a turnover and I think an interception. And so when you have that type of leadership, guys that's coming up willing to step up to the plate and put it all on the line, that's what you need. And they did it today. They kept us going. But just when we think everything was going to fall apart, our defense held together.
That's a great point because this game could have fallen apart very easily. Philadelphia had every punch to your counter punch and was really the one throwing the blows for the first 3 quarters. They were the ones setting the tone. Dallas was having to play from behind. Much like the last couple of games that Dallas has fallen in, Jacksonville and Green Bay, they were ahead at points in that ball game, but they weren't able to close it out. What does it say about this football team, Nate, the fact that they closed this out in a playoff-type atmosphere against a playoff-caliber team and able to get a big win like this at home?
I've been looking for this for 4 weeks now. And these guys, like I said, they made plays. I mean, Anthony Barr dropped one.
Oh, not the Barr, too.
But came back, but came back to get a fumble recovery.
Yeah.
So guys will make mistakes, but they stayed together as a team. They played well as a team, like you say, Bland, Curse, all of these guys came up big, and man, I am shocked. They got Miles Sanders not once, but twice to drop that ball on the ground. This is a defense that refused to give up. They play within. They play for one another.
There's an old saying, Barry and Nate and Kyle, of pressure burst pipes.
Yeah.
Right. And I know hopefully some of y'all are not dealing with burst pipes right now with this freeze going on.
Right.
But the Dallas Cowboys had players in every regard step up and make plays today. Just whenever you had that little inkling, whenever you had that little feeling, that little bubble guts feeling, that things were about to go bad, what happened? DaRon Bland got a turnover and got you the ball back. What happened? Curse or Watkins, whoever it was, knocked the ball out. What happens? T.Y. Hilton went up there and made a big boy play on a Hail Mary seemingly throw on a 3rd and 30. Somebody always stepped up. Somebody wanted to make the next big play. Usually, losing teams, they put their head down and guess what? Oh, this play is not supposed to really happen, so I'm not going to give it my all. These guys wanted to make the next play. Next man up is every play seemingly with this team.
Yeah, with this defense, if you're able to take the football away like they can, you're always going to be in a game. Even last week against Jacksonville, they didn't come away with the win, but the defense gave them an opportunity to get the W down there. The same thing happened this week, 4 takeaways. Look, this defense, they might not be perfect, but if they can take the ball away like that, like I said, you'll always be in the game.
Yeah, those 4 takeaways were huge. It was not perfect at any point throughout this ball game, but playoff football isn't always perfect. Yeah. So that's the thing. You come out on top, that's what matters. And there were plenty of games last year going into the playoffs that the Cowboys had in the back of their mind saying this is a benchmark game against a playoff caliber team that the Cowboys did not win. This is one they did get the job done in a playoff caliber environment, and it took a playoff caliber type of adjustment to get the job done. 40-34, the final score. Here's a look at the final stats. Again, lots to clean up. We'll talk about more of that on Cowboys Game Night and Cowboys OT. More post-game coverage on the way. Hear from the star in Frisco. We'll hear from the Cowboys locker room after their 6-point win and a Christmas Eve classic over the Philadelphia Eagles. That's it for the First Word, presented by Dr. Pepper.